Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Charles. I want to welcome you guys to another episode of the Dreamerspro Show, where we cover everything from sports, hot topics, classic debates, entertainment, and where we give you guys a fresh perspective on things and how we see them. And in today's episode, the topic is, revealing why the Clippers plan to play Kawhi Leonard like Michael Jordan and Kobe this season. So before we get into the topic, I want you guys to please make sure you go ahead and hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and hit the notification bell to be notified whenever we drop our content. Also, be sure to check out our Dreamerspro Podcast, which is linked in the description below. And I'll also be on the lookout for our Dreamerspro platform that we're launching the first week of January, and our Dreamerspro website, dreamerspro.com. So please be on the lookout for that. So anyway, so let me just get into this topic here. Now, this topic, this combination of players is one of the most interesting sort of things out there as a basketball fan for me. And the reason is, and this is the reason why. Kobe, as you guys know, and maybe you guys that have been on the channel for quite some time now, Kobe has always been my favorite basketball player. I have Kobe ranked number 3 all time behind Jordan and Kareem. This is just my opinion. So Kobe has always been my favorite player. If I have to talk about somebody that I saw play basketball live, Kobe was the best to me. I never saw MJ in his prime play basketball live, although I regard Michael Jordan as the greatest player of all time. But Kobe was the best to me. Like, he was the best, most feared, most respected. One of those guys you never talk trash to, had every shot. I think he was the most complete player that probably ever played basketball, to be quite honest with you, because when he played, he was the best perimeter player, the best post player. He had the best footwork. I mean, Kobe to me was the best player I've ever seen play basketball. But that's just my opinion. Some people feel otherwise, which is fine. Some people say LeBron, some people say Tim Duncan, some people say whoever it is, which is fine. And that's the nature of sports, and everyone is entitled to their opinion. However, a number of years back, right, when Kobe was sort of getting to the tail end of his career, I was beginning to get afraid. Like a lot of Kobe fans, and I'm sure a lot of you guys shared the same sentiment, and you started to think to yourself, hey, wait a minute. Who is going to be the next guy that plays like Kobe? Who is this guy that we're going to feel like is going to be able to play, and we're going to watch him and enjoy basketball? Because Kobe was a beautiful player to watch. Like, he was beautiful. Even if you look at his jump shot, his release, I mean, everything is fadeaway. It was beautiful. Literally, it was beautiful to watch Kobe. He was an artist, and, he made the game very, very, very enjoyable to watch as a sports fan. So we used to get afraid, like, man, who's going to be the next guy? And it turned out to be someone that we had no kind of inclination of who it was going to be. And that person actually ended up being Kawhi Leonard. Now, let me tell you how all of this started. Kawhi Leonard originally came into the NBA as a defensive player. He was known as a defensive specialist, and that's what he hung his hat on. And he ended up winning 2 Defensive Player of the Year awards for that very reason, because he was such a stellar all-time defender at his position. But at one point during All-Star Weekend, Kobe Bryant, who knows Greg Popovich obviously very well, Greg Popovich, for Kawhi Leonard at the time, who was very young, Greg Popovich said, hey, Kobe, can you please stay in the air of Kawhi Leonard and just kind of take him under your wing? And I'm sure Greg Popovich knew that Kawhi Leonard looked up to Kobe Bryant, right? So Kobe Bryant said, sure, right? Kobe Bryant said, sure. And what happened? Let me tell you guys exactly what happened. From that point forward, Kawhi Leonard started training with Kobe Bryant. And let me tell you what happened to his offense. That year, okay, the year before he started training with Kobe, the year before, Kawhi was averaging 21.2 points per game. The next season, after working out with Kobe, he went from averaging 21.2 points per game to 25.5, and it was an easy 25. And as you were watching him play, you could see that he started to have a lot of Kobe's moves. And in one game, after they played the Sacramento Kings, DeMarcus Cousins at the time, who was playing with the Sacramento Kings, said at the end of the game, with the Spurs won, he said, I heard he's been training with Kobe, and he looks really good. He's really good, right? Because Kobe, started to teach him his offensive moves. But more importantly, Kawhi Leonard had the capabilities and wherewithal to actually be able to pick up on it. There are a lot of guys that wanted to play like Kobe that just couldn't pull it off, but Kawhi Leonard did. Just like there were a lot of guys that wanted to play like Jordan, and Kobe pulled it off, and a lot of guys did not, right? Kobe was the only guy really to be able to pull that off. So Kobe helped him refine his offense, and Kobe studied MJ. And this is where sort of this thread is kind of connected, because Kobe studied MJ in all of his moves, and that's where he got the most inspiration from. So before I go too far, I want you guys to take a listen to a soundbite of Kobe speaking to Michael Jordan during an All-Star game and asking him about his offensive and how he hits his turnaround, a fadeaway jump shot. So listen to this, audience. Take a listen to this.
This is a fun game for me. Everybody's talking about Kobe Bryant and Michael Jordan.
Oh, well, this is the matchup that everybody's been waiting to see.
I learned a lot this game. A lot about how technically sound Michael was. Because it's one thing in watching him play, and then it's another thing in playing against him.
He's now in a postgraduate course.
Yeah, boy. Accelerated learning.
His technique was flawless. I wanted to make sure my technique was just as flawless.
Been down a half court, and he wanted to know how, when I turn around on my jump shot, how to feel the defense. I told him you should feel the defense with your legs. Once you feel the defense with your legs, you can take advantage of that.
That was very inspiring for me.
Now, in that audio, you can hear Kobe talking about how he went over to Jordan and how Jordan, told him how to feel the defense with his legs before he goes into his, for his jump shot. And he said he was really inspired by that. And now I want you guys to listen to another audio of Kobe talking about the players that he enjoys to watch the most in the NBA and how Kawhi Leonard operates from the same exact spots on the floor that he does. So before I go too far, I want you guys to take a listen to that. Take a listen to that soundbite there.
There's three that I really enjoy watching. Russell, James, Kawhi Leonard. I love watching that generation. And Kyrie. I love watching them play. I just love watching them play. And Kawhi's been able to do, and with the spots that he operates from, are the exact same spots where I like to operate from. The elbow, the mid post, the 1-2 bump. Turn left shoulder, fade, turn right shoulder, fade. I mean, I love watching those guys play.
So in that soundbite, you can clearly hear that Kobe says that Kawhi Leonard, plays exactly the same way that he plays because he likes to operate from the same spots on the floor that he, the mid post, he has all, the great footwork, the pivot, bump, spin, jump shot, all of these different things, 1-2 dribble, going to the left, pull up, bump, all of these different things, right? Which I'm sure Kobe worked with Kawhi Leonard on. Now, given that that's the fact, and Kobe has been a little bit coy in that interview because he didn't go too far into detail, say, hey, me and him have been working together, and that's the reason why you see that. But anyway, let's go a little bit further. And maybe he did that because also he didn't want to take away any credit from the guy because maybe Kawhi Leonard worked his tail off just to be able to, get to the point where Kobe can be proud of him to say, listen, this is the type of guy that plays like me on TV because, Kobe Bryant did not want to be associated with any type of scrub basketball players. So I think Kobe was very careful when he was picking players to kind of, draw comparisons with and parallels with. So there's no surprise to that. Now, let's talk about Tyronn Lue. Because Tyronn Lue in a press conference was asked, they said, listen, we've been seeing that you've been featuring some of the Chicago sets, Chicago offense. For those guys who don't know, Chicago, Michael Jordan, Triangle, Phil Jackson, and with the Clippers here with Kawhi Leonard. So I want you guys to take a listen to a soundbite of Tyronn Lue talking about the fact that they're going to be running a lot of the Chicago sets for Kawhi Leonard. So take a listen to that soundbite there.
Hey, Coach, how you doing this morning?
How you doing?
I'm doing well. Thank you very much. One of the things that's jumped off the page as far as the tape of the preseason is concerned is how much Chicago action you guys were using with the different variety of players. So I wanted to ask you, is this something you guys have wanted to incorporate more, or is it just a natural pathway of working on things in the preseason?
You mean Chicago as in triangle?
Yeah.
Yeah, just put in a few sets, and we're going to add more. Like I said, with a shortened, preseason and training camp, we can't really add as much stuff as we need to, but we do have a significant amount of stuff in right now. But we have put in 2 or 3 sets from the triangle and, letting Kawhi play in those spaces, where Kobe and Jordan play in those spots as well. So, he loves those 2 players, and, he really respects and looks up to those guys. And so we're just trying to put him in position. And, I was able to play with both those guys and also play in the triangle. So just trying to teach him that as well as teaching our team as well.
Now, in that soundbite, Tyronn Lue explains that, yes, we're going to be running some of the Chicago offensive style of offense because Tyronn Lue obviously played under Phil Jackson and all of these different things. So he's kind of a pupil of Phil Jackson, which makes a lot of sense. And because of that, they're going to be running some triangle offensive sets for Kawhi Leonard. Now, let me tell you why this is perfect, because Kawhi Leonard is one of the few players that can actually pull it off. Why? Because Kawhi Leonard is a threat from the paint, from the post, right? He has a fantastic post game because of his footwork, because of his patience, and his ability to split split double teams, read the defense very well. I expect maybe his assist numbers to go up a little bit more, given the fact that he's going to be a threat from the post. So, they're going to be running some offense through him, but also because of the fact he can hit fadeaway jump shots, right? He can hit, if you look at Kawhi Leonard's game, he can hit a turnaround jump shot, spin away from the defense and shoot, which is a very valuable skill in the post. If you can't hit fadeaway jump shots, I go and turn it left over the left or the right shoulder, then you don't have that move in your arsenal. So you don't have as many options in the post and different actions that you can go to. So for me, it makes a lot of sense. Now let's talk about the triangle offense for a second. Why I think it makes sense if they're running it at different times in their offense, because the triangle offense is very, 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 very fluid. It's a fluid offense that allows you to sort of improvise as the game goes on. If you see one thing on the floor, you can go to a different set. If you see things are changing, you can form another triangle on a different part of the court. Now, obviously, you need the personnel. You need smart players to actually be able to execute the triangle offense. And there's a learning curve. I remember when Meta World Peace, Ron Artest, went to go play with the Lakers, and it took him months to be able to understand the offense. It took him months, and Kobe and these guys had to really walk him through, because it's an offense that takes time. But once you kind of understand it, then things begin to come very fluid. So it's something that these guys are going to buy into, given the fact that, Tyronn Lue also mentioned the fact that, listen, we've been also trying to run the zone defense at different times, just to take teams out of their offensive rhythm at times, and some of the players have kind of been messing it up a little bit. I expect there to be a learning curve, but if he was comfortable enough to say that, listen, we're planning on implementing this into different schemes in our offense, then that means that he feels confident, at the very least, that some of his players will be able to get this, and it may be something that they could go to in different points in the season. So for me, I think it's a great move. I think, as you know, in basketball, if any of you guys understand basketball and watch Kobe and have seen Jordan highlights, you know that Jordan and Kobe, especially to the second half of their careers, would just dominate in the post, and especially on back-to-backs. Kobe said this. Back-to-backs, you go a little bit closer to the basket. You're not taking so many jump shots further away. You go closer to the basket to get things a little, easier layups and things like that. Go closer to the basket. But if you don't have a post-offensive game, then none of those things are possible. And that's why I said Kobe Bryant was the most complete offensive player I've ever seen. So for me, I think it's going to work really well, and I think it's a great move, and a great move by the coaching staff and Tyronn Lue and these guys. So what I want to know from you guys is, do you think that it's a good idea for Tyronn Lue and the Clippers to implement some triangle offensive sets, or you don't like the idea altogether? Whatever you guys think, please leave your thoughts and comments in the comments section below. Again, if you enjoy the video, please make sure you go ahead and hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and hit the notification bell to be notified whenever we drop our content. Also, be sure to check out the next video that we have at the end of this video. If you enjoyed this video, I'm sure you guys are going to enjoy that video. Once again, this is Charles here from Dreamerspro, wishing you guys an amazing day. Catch you guys on the next episode. Peace!